This is not as easy as Jordan made it out to be, which is terrible. Right, okay, good. We should be broadcasting now. There we go. Hooray! It's live. And there we go.
Get everybody else in.
What?
There we go.
I'm hoping other people are going to turn up now. I went through all this to make this flipping stream. Right, and there's the YouTube link.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, whilst I've got you on. So, have you seen the event in Birmingham at the end of August?
I am. Yeah, I have seen the Gigi and Brum.
Yeah. Are you coming?
I am, hopefully.
Yay!
I've just got to try and get the day off work. Let's make sure I can get the day off.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, hopefully both me and my husband, if we can finagle it.
See, that'd be nice.
It would be. We were both at the London one.
Mm.
Well, it won't let me put the web address in the chat. Why will it not do that?
I don't know. I'm just curious where those three are now.
I don't know. They were still
talking nonsense.
Talking away when I went, but I assumed they'd all got the message as well.
Yeah,
so
well, yeah, it's just a cheek. That's what it is. No, well, because Shemi, I said to Shemi, well, if you need some help organising the thing, let me know. I said, yeah, that's fine. And so we grabbed some people, as you do. But apparently, Alam's coming. We were going to get Godfrey, Godfrey Elthwick.
Oh, wow.
But ironically, his girlfriend apparently won't let him come.
Wow.
So I was like, no. And Shemi's like, yeah, his girlfriend won't let him in.
Oh, his girlfriend won't let him come to play with us.
No. And it's kind of like, what? No. But that would have been nice. But no, he's not.
That's funnier than it should be.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, should we tell people that? He went, I don't want to. Well, no, we've got to tell people that's why he's not coming.
Yeah.
But because we know Milo's coming, that'll be nice. Alam's supposed to be coming as well.
Yes. Yeah, I met Alam in London. He's great.
Well, that's the thing. As I was saying to him the other night, I'm amazed at anyone with a posher accent than mine. So
oh, bless him, he does sound so posh. He
right.
Really he's actually sounds more posh on real life than he does on stream.
Oh God, that's it. I think I might just.
He's great. He's pretty good at Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, I may have to kidnap him for a while.
Oh.
Yeah, just to prove to the world, right? Because where we are, right? It's what's it in the middle of Yorkshire, so everyone sounds like it's Last of the Summer Wine, and I wish I was making that up, but they do. It's full on Yorkshire accents, and everyone assumes that because I am quote unquote posh, right? Because I don't go around throwing things out in the accent, that somehow I'm really rich and whatnot. And I just think it'd be really nice to show them someone that's a bit more posh, just to prove that it's not just me and it's not that bad. Just go, look, guys, put your whippets away. Look at this. Not that we have whippets, obviously. Actually, I do know like 3 guys with whippets.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
See, now it's just me and you. It feels like a weird Twitter date. And
so my husband's here, sat next to me.
Yeah, that's what makes it weird.
I'm playing Skyrim.
I almost said hello. But yeah.
Well, where did everybody go?
I don't know.
I don't know. Was there anything specific that you, while it is just you and me, Was there anything specific that you wanted to ask me about what I said and what I wrote about airplay? Because I sort of got the feeling from Twitter earlier that there was sort of something specific you wanted to
I'm
know.
just curious in general, because obviously you may have noticed I didn't really give much of an opinion while we were on stream with Koretsky and things. I try not to give much of an opinion about the thing, so I'm sort of curious because I think it's not going to be anything even remotely like what people think it'll be, and that's why I was going down the route of, well, where do we go from here? Where is the point where we can enforce something?
This is the thing. I mean, very few people even know what airplay really is.
Mm.
That it's just sort of being touted as this is going to be a discussion about ethics, and then suddenly it isn't going to be a discussion about ethics, and then
That's it.
it's not just going to be a discussion about ethics. So at the moment, it seems to be okay. Some people are going to go to Miami and talk about some stuff, and that's all at the moment that we know. I think that this could be handled so much better. And Koretsky, bless him, I'm sure he's a lovely, lovely person, but
Yeah.
he's not great with people. He really isn't.
No.
So there are some things he could be doing that would make it more likely, I would think, for airplay to be a little more successful, if you'll pardon my presumption for...
No, I agree. That's the thing is we've got all this, and this is the thing, and then this is why I was pushing the questions on the evidence, because surely, as I said, if one person can say I was harassed and we take that at face value, I'm on, then the other 40, 50,000 people in Gamergate can then say, but we were harassed, and you must now take it as our word because you're taking other people at their word.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
howdy.
There are things. I mean, if he just said, "This is what's going to be happening. These are the people involved. This is what could potentially be things that would happen as a result of this," even if it's just a case of, well, we had a really good discussion and I understand you guys a bit better. I mean, he doesn't understand what Gamergate is, and that's a huge, huge part of why he's having such trouble communicating with us. He seems to think he referred to us as a subculture, and we're not. Gamergate is not a subculture. Gaming is a subculture. Gamergate is not. Gamergate is a hashtag of gamers that have come together, people of the gaming community who have come together for the pursuit of certain goals. Now, it's when you argue about what those goals are that things start to get tricky. For some, it's removal of politics and the SJW stuff from gaming. For others, it's ethics. For some, it's misogyny. It's when you argue about what that kind of stuff is about that things start to get tricky.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's about... I'm in it for scaring off women, so I mean, you need to go. You don't understand. You just need to go. Right now. Get out.
Better than that. You got no.
It's for men only. Don't you understand? Don't you understand?
Go home, game girl.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, see, you let these goony beard men in, they give you shit. I don't know what's happening. No, but that's the thing. On a more serious note, is that's why I was pushing for the evidence, because if he's saying, "Oh well, I don't want to hear about the evidence that Brianna Wu didn't leave her house and blah blah," well, that is important because
it really is. I mean, I can understand him saying the stuff about, well, I don't want to hear about that Zoe Quinn is a bitch or this, that, and the other. I don't care about the messages that say, insert anti-GG person is a dickhead and they deserve everything they get. Yeah, I can understand why those type of messages are irrelevant and why you don't care about those. But to say you
value
don't
judgments versus facts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. To say that you don't care about potential evidence that is being sent to you because you think it's irrelevant, it's like, well, you don't understand the whole picture yet, and you've made it blatantly obvious that you don't understand the whole picture yet, that there's so much stuff that you don't yet know about, so you don't know if it's relevant or not. You're prejudging it. You're being really, really kind of preemptive and premature is the word I'm looking for.
Well, that's the thing.
In dismissing that.
it's kind of, we're looking at it, and I'm looking at it like, well, okay. I think someone pointed out, is it Thomas Sowell? Sewell? I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
I think, yes.
There. Now that guy had a model of evidence, and I'm kind of like, that's what I was trying to push at is, we need hard proof that these things have happened. If they haven't happened, we can say that if they happen, they're terrible. But unless we can prove it, we're not talking about it because
there's no point trying to solve problems that don't exist. Basically,
precisely
just wasting your time.
Yeah. And that's the thing about the evidence that bugged me. It's kind of like, well, Zoe Quinn says she's been harassed. She may have been harassed. I don't know. But until such time as some hard evidence comes in, like a link, an archive, a piece of paper from the police to say she's been harassed, I don't care, because until that evidence has come through, it didn't happen.
Well, can someone actually explain to me what the fuck is harassment? Because these days I'm very confused about what the hell harassment actually consists of. Because it seems to be ranging from anywhere. You tweeted at me. You were in my mentions. I didn't ask you to be in my mentions. It's like, okay, that's kind of how Twitter works. Oh yeah, I'm going to rape your mother, sort of shit. Which you can say, yeah, that's not particularly nice. And I don't really understand what the fuck is harassment. If someone could explain that to me, I'd be eternally grateful.
Well, the thing is, there is a legal definition of harassment at which you have to, have been in physical proximity with a person and that sort of thing for the most part, or you have to be sending them things that could be deemed, I think, is offensive or harmful.
The main
things about like people sending child porn or shit like that, which is reprehensible.
If you send someone a doll, that's had its head ripped off, and this is going to be you, that's harassment.
The main part of it in the UK definition, and to some extent the US definition, although it does vary from state to state, is you have to have asked them to stop what they are doing, and if they continue then to contact you after you have asked them not to, then it's harassment.
Well, that seems pretty reasonable to me. I mean, because then it's not a matter of a person's. It's not a matter of subjectivity. It's just I don't want you to communicate with me, and if the other person respects that, then I think that seems perfectly reasonable. If it's just a case of I got talked at on what is essentially a public forum, then that seems like a bit more nebulous.
That's different. See, that's the thing.
No.
If someone makes themselves a public figure, you have to accept a certain level of contact with the public.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And if you are a public figure, you have to accept that you are going to get mocked and you're going to get derided and people are going to take the piss out of you.
Yeah.
And people are probably going to send you mean things because congratulations, there are arseholes on the internet.
Now
that's how you know you've made it as well. You should be pleased about it. It's like, yeah, I'm important. Fuck it.
I'm
exactly.
Not important. No,
but to give you an example,
it's not important. You never get harassment. We want it because we want to be important.
No, but to give you an example, Katie Hopkins, right? I don't necessarily agree with the woman on a great many things, and I don't think she's a particularly nice lady. However, the stuff that she gets sent on a daily basis is an infinite number of times worse than anything I see getting sent to anyone in Anti-Gamergate.
Yeah, but that's what she does for a living, isn't it? She's a professional provocateur. That's what she does now. She's
that's definitely the thing.
Person that they wheel out on the TV shows to throw cabbages at. You know?
Say what you like about her, but I mean, she knows how to sort of give it and take it.
Yeah, she's got giant brass ones. That's the point I'm making. Is that these people in Anti-Gamergate, they can't handle someone saying a mean thing to them on the internet, and they want some sort of official interference to stop it happening. You kind of go, well, look at what this one gets. Look at what gets sent to, for say, UK politicians, either of the Miliband's or Nick Clegg on a daily basis. Come back to us when it's that bad.
Because the police don't. No. They can't even handle a joke at their expense. Because then it becomes you're punching down, I'm an oppressed minority because of reasons. And so if you are satirizing me or mocking me or deriding me in any way, then you are part of my oppression.
Right, but this is the thing, it's all about gender and race, To which my response is, well, I'm matrilineally Jewish. My dad's side of the family are Irish. They've gone through 2 of the worst genocides in recent memory. So surely I'm more oppressed than you.
No, you're white. That's how it works.
And male.
Yeah, I know, but
You got it made, son.
This is what I don't
Facts don't matter. You're white and you're male. Therefore, everything about your life must be absolutely
The world is
brilliant.
built for you, sunshine.
I know, right? It's like,
That's great stuff.
my parents gave me $200,000 for a studio. Oh, that's nice. I grew up on a council estate with a single mother and 3 little brothers. How the fuck
Yes,
am I
but
more
a
privileged
white
than you?
council estate, a white privileged council estate. You don't understand.
Yeah, it's just
totally.
total.
Clearly, you didn't see where council estate was anything but white privilege.
It doesn't.
Council estates are not white privilege. They're fucking shit.
Well, that's worse. That just means you didn't appreciate the cultural diversity.
Oh, I did. It was great. But it's kind of like, well, what? You know, I haven't even seen $200,000, let alone spent it on a failed animation studio.
Oh, it's so nice to be American and have money and know how everybody else in the world lives. It must be so nice.
Well, Americans are famous for being the most clued up about the rest of the world. I'm sorry.
Totally.
Are we bullying the only American in the room?
Yes, we are. I was apologising preemptively there.
I mean, I only brought Kit on to hit on her, so you do what you want. This is
see, you fucking mangina.
Right. I don't care. I made this very clear before she even came on. This was not, in any way subtle.
He did. He definitely did. Like, yeah, I can say that's why she's here, is because he kept begging me to get her on the show at one point, so that he could just hit on her, and then she was like, fine, and then she's on the show. So. See, all she does is laugh. She's not saying anything. She's not even sticking up for the Americans here. But, well, probably.
That's a dumb blonde. American dumb blonde, you see. That's how it works.
Now, you say that. You can't guarantee anyone's blonde by looking at the head, so some investigation is needed.
The cuff matches the collar.
I will tell you all about it.
Exactly.
Not if I get there first, you see. There we go.
What happens
the collar has been thrown down.
You can get wigs. For that particular area, they're called merkins.
Are you speaking from experience here, Angela? Cause
I'm not even kidding. You can get them. You can get them to if you've had to shave your genital area. If you're a sex worker who's got pubic lice and you've had to shave your genital area, you can get them to hide that fact. Or if you're just a regular person who's got genital lice.
Just shave it.
Or someone's on a stag do. Can we not just keep going back to genital lice? I mean, let's just not
oppression with the genital lice.
Yeah, let's not make that the only reason someone has a shaved pubic area. Because
this is very true. I do know a woman who shaved her pubic area because she found some grey hairs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In her hair, and she
wasn't lice.
Come on, we've just pulled it relatively far from the gutter, Mournblade.
But it's my show. I can do what I want.
Look, the man lives in the gutter. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, that's true. Also, right now, Mournblade, I have the mute button, so yeah.
You do, but I'll have it.
Power.
Yeah.
See, he thinks he's got the power, right? But it's only the mute button. When he's when it's the proper show and I've actually got time to do this shit, I have a hell of a lot more power than a mute button.
You say that, right? However, I have more women on the show now than you've had in the entire 20-odd episodes beforehand. So don't talk to me about power, Sunshine.
Bullshit.
You do not understand the power, the dark side of Scotland.
He's talking shit. He's talking shit. I've had Socks, I've had Gwen.
Socks doesn't count. She's barely a woman.
True. That's true.
And I'll tell her this. She's not even sent me nudes, so... You can't
God.
Good luck. Sure, you seen these other two have?
No, I'm saying I'm working on that, okay?
Right,
okay.
So what
definitely call him
so
a socialist at this point.
So the real story is, You've worked on it with socks for 6 months and it's not happened. She's just told you to fuck off.
I've worked nothing. That is a
Yeah.
lie.
You hear that? Everyone is
That's
going
the
live.
fucking
Like, that's
first.
what's happened.
Have you been snorting salt? Is that why you're so
No.
thirsty?
No, I'm not thirsty for socks. If I was thirsty for socks, I'd be the one complaining that now she's a DJ on my radio station, I can't flirt with her. Well, now,
Oh, that would be an ethical violation, of course.
that's right.
That's what I said. That's why I
Yeah.
was joking about it.
Yeah, joking.
That's exactly what I said. I said,
Yeah.
no, I can't do that anymore because she's on the radio station and she's a DJ, so I don't flirt with her anymore.
Damn.
Because that would be an ethical violation. See?
Plus, you were getting nowhere.
No, she came on the radio station, didn't she?
Yeah, but only because you threatened to rape her like 6 times. No, that didn't happen. That did not happen. It never happened.
Holy
'Cause,
shit.
honest
If
to
the
God.
aunties, see if the aunties
Wow.
take that out of context, I'm going to fuck you up.
I know. In fairness, right, even in context, if they get hold of some of my tweets, it's just going to be a nightmare.
Not
I
like
think
that, though.
in fairness and
Soundbite,
balance,
you
I'm
wanker.
not gay, but I'll
Holy
definitely
shit.
rate both of you. Just for fairness, I think at least 2 to 1. I'll rate both of you just for fairness. I'm not even gay. I'll do it just for the women.
I like the way you think you're not going to be the rapee.
Would you gentlemen like to be alone?
Not really. That's why I got a
That's
girlfriend.
why you watch
I'm getting the feeling that you guys have some unresolved issues you all need to maybe that we ladies should step out. And
No, that's fine. If you ladies stay,
No, this
I'll
is-
just
you
get
gotta
rid of the
understand,
other
this
two
is how
guys.
it's
masculine
safe.
thing.
This is how a safe
Get
space
your
is
toxic
created.
masculinity on.
No. If we're getting toxic masculinity on, I get rid of those two. God no.
That's true.
We don't get rid of more women. It's bad enough of a sausage fest usually when Morn's here.
Exactly. I chase them all away.
It's true. Why would a man follow? Who is this man? Who is Sean Beeson? Who is
I
that?
don't know.
It's got
What?
160. Yeah, it's following 160,000 people. I don't care who he is. Just some random follower thing on
Well,
Twitter.
you will get random people following, and I believe that's mostly because you can. Isn't there some sort of follower limits unless you follow other people or some shit? I don't
Yeah,
understand
there
how
is.
Twitter
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
After
I don't know.
2000, you have to like have a certain. You have to have more than 2,000, and then you can start following more people or something.
I'm not that popular. I don't know.
Same.
Does anyone else get those kind of bots that follow you that say things in the bio like bacon enthusiast and
Yeah.
social
So
media
many.
expert and zombie enthusiast and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's
If
always
you,
like female avatars, and it's
If
always
you-
like top 10 lists in there. They're all their tweets
Mhm.
are top 10 lists.
I have to say, of all the bots that I've encountered, my favourite is definitely Red Scare bot.
Oh, I like that one too. That's the McCarthy
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, but is that a
Anytime
bot?
you say communism or socialism,
Oh
he'll
yeah,
pop up.
yeah, no one,
Yeah, he's funny. That's a good one.
See, yeah, it's definitely much better than the ones like I once tweeted.
No.
I mentioned Candy Crush, and then I instantly basically get this Candy Crush bot saying "infinite lives in Candy Crush." It's like, fuck's sake! I was just talking about something other completely unrelated, but obviously,
Yeah.
yes, it's mentioned. So yeah, oh god, I imagine it's probably full of spam. If you actually went through the process, which I didn't, I could only imagine the horrors that would be unleashed upon your phone.
I tend to find that the best bot at the minute is Turban Tony.
That's one I'm not familiar with.
So,
No.
you know, over India Jabal.
Yes.
It's a bot based on things he says,
Oh god.
and it's amazing. It's so good.
Can you give examples?
Right, hold on. You know what, I'm just going to tweet at him now and tell him I love him and see what he comes up with.
Oh.
Is somebody having a party in the background?
That might be my stepson. He's listening to music while he takes a shower. I think that's my house.
Well,
That's why
tell
I'm
him
getting
that
ready to go.
there's important stuff going on. There's absolute silence in the studio. It must be maintained. Don't you have a red
That's-
bowl that says live?
That's always the problem. Didn't you ever listen to my show? There are always trains going by and cats meowing and dogs barking and
No, we
people
already
just
had
popping
some
in
of
my
that.
house. Yeah, you heard some of it. It's every single time. It's usually the reason why I have to pop out of streams is because my dogs start barking and they don't stop.
Throw a cat at it.
Well,
See, I've just told Turban to on his ebooks I love him, and he's just put I love you. Oh, there we go. I asked him
Why
if
are
he's
you
gay.
sending it to me, you faggot? What?
Because
Why?
that's why. So I asked him, "Are you gay?" He said, "You had to add me and need help with stuffs. Please do not hesitate, buddy." So I think that's a yes.
Alright,
make
well,
it
you can
tweet
get
me
married
too.
now. You can get US citizenship and get
Yeah.
married in the States. There we go. Problem solved.
I could, but I'm
There
going
you
to
go.
seek elsewhere.
though at the first radio station wedding, we all need hats.
Turbans. It's got to be turbans.
No one can see hats on the radio. No one understands how radio works anymore. This is the problem.
Why
Yeah,
would
but
anyone need
Fake
to?
hats. We could narrate it and have hats.
because it's expected.
Well, exactly. I can have the most elaborate costume ever, and I can just still be sitting in my living room with just nothing but my underwear on.
Is no one else wearing a cape?
Capes are impractical. We all know this. They just get
I-
caught indoors.
Oh, the
I'm-
bot's just favorited my tweet. What is
I'm-
going on?
I'm fluffy, and you can pet me because I'm a cat.
Is that's like a really crap chat plan, man.
No, it's quite
Yeah,
good.
No, I don't do pets. I'm not a pet person.
Oh, but you need to pet a cat. It's so fluffy, and it sits there and it starts purring, and then you just...
No, I have
Except
children.
for you constantly complain about how shit your cats are.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cat's a cunt, but it's still awesome.
No, but this is the thing, like, because we've got a little dog, little Jack Russell,
Don't
and I do
get-
complain sometimes, but he's ace because I've taught him to wink. It's by far the best thing I've done.
It's a wink.
Yeah, like whenever he's in trouble, he literally sort of looks up, turns his head, and winks because I've taught him to do it.
So it's a nervous eye twitch. How did you
No.
teach him this nervous eye twitch?
No, it's just.
When he's
I
frightened,
demand
he's terrified, he's winking
No.
at you like a motherfucker.
No, he's not even frightened. He just looks up and he winks, and he thinks it gets him out of trouble. It's brilliant. You know, like when the kids come in and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and expect to get away with everything. It's
He just
like
gives
that
you a sly
little
wink.
Yeah. Like, so my girlfriend, it was in trouble. He'd like shredded something, and she was like, "Oh, you're a bad dog. What are you doing?" And he just looked at her and winked, and she went, "I can't be mad now. I just can't be mad."
You've got to.
I was like, yeah.
Have you filmed this? You've got to film this. You have to.
I think I do have a film of him winking somewhere, but I've also taught
Well,
him
that's going to
like,
be
nod.
YouTube gold. You do realise that you can get about 20
No,
billion hits
because-
on that shit.
He never fucking does it when I tell him to. He always waits, and then when I'm not looking, and people looking at him, they're like, "Oh yeah, he did it." And I'm like, "You motherfucker! You're supposed to do this on command."
It winks at you out the corner of your eye. You sure he's really not trying to tell you something?
It might be. I don't know anymore. He's such a lazy dog. He just sleeps during the day, gets up, winks at me, goes for a wee, and eats his food.
He's
Right,
not a
okay.
ratter then.
That sounds like
No.
the sweet life right there. The
Yeah,
sweet
that's all he does. He don't care. We did have a mouse in our old house because it was right next to a field and it was an old house. And he just looked at it.
That is a
wink
poor
at
Jack
you,
Russell.
Like, went away.
Yeah, he just looked at, literally walked across the room in front of him and he just tracked it. Looked at it. I don't think it helped that we had guinea pigs at that point. Because, of course, the guinea pigs he thought were just tiny dogs. So I'm guessing he just assumed the mouse was another tiny dog. But I just looked at it.
My aunt had a Jack Russell who's definitely a ratter, though lived on a fucking in the stables most of the time, so you get all the fucking rats, and it's like he'd go fucking mental. Had a black lab as well. It was basically so. Aunt had a black lab and this Jack Russell, and like the Jack Russell would go out and start fucking digging in the field, and the lab would go out and copy him. And it's like you could tell the lab didn't have a fucking clue what it was doing. It's just copying his brother basically. Didn't have a clue what it's doing. It's just digging holes. And Jack Russell obviously had found a scent of some fucking mole or some shit like that, and was determined to get the motherfucker out.
See, I like that. I wanted a proper sized dog, but we ended
Like a
up.
husky.
Yeah. Well, I wanted a border collie or a husky cross,
Well, huskies are basically the closest dogs to wolves, basically, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, they basically are.
Well, you can get there's some in Wales. They've got basically white fang, the husky wolf mixed breed, and they
Right,
have
I'm
them
out of here,
live.
shitlords. See you later.
All right, see you in a bit.
Go.
So, yeah,
Right.
Yeah, so they've got them over there, and I was like, "That's the dog I want." And she went, "Why?" I said, "Well, because I want to call it White Fang." Apparently, I'm not allowed to do that.
well, that was quite a good. I remember the cartoon series of that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Quite enjoyed that one.
Yeah. I confess I have a wolf cookie jar that howls when you open it, and I named it White Fang.
Nice.
Awesome.
See, we
I
made the
don't know
mistake.
why, but I've never really been into pets. I mean, I grew up with pets. My dad had dogs, my mum had cats, but I know this is a weird opinion, but I don't see the point of keeping an animal in your house and feeding it and looking after it unless you intend to eat it.
Well, I can definitely see where you're coming from, but it's a matter of companionship. In fact, I definitely agree with Mornblade on it. It's
I have
like
a husband and
cats.
children for that.
Well, that's true, but the pure simplicity of an animal, it doesn't understand any of the shit that's going on. So
Yeah.
you give it food, it doesn't really understand anything else.
Nah.
It's
Too much
no,
effort.
I
for
no, I
too little
understand. I
reward
understand exactly I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just trying to
I'm not
explain
perfect.
from someone who's a cat person. It's like that's kind of where
A
it comes
cat
from.
person. Oh, we were going to
Yeah.
be friends. You can get the fuck out.
Well, you see, the reason I like cats is because they're independent little fuckers. I mean, I haven't had any as bad as what Mornblade is describing, but they please themselves. The thing about dogs is they can be quite high maintenance, and it's just not the
Yeah.
sort of thing I've got
Yeah, they're kind of
the time
needy.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
I like cats and dogs. I didn't know you were a cat lover. That's cool.
Well,
That's
I
not
was
cool.
basically raised.
That's not the word
Well,
we use for
shut
cat
up.
lovers.
Shut up.
Don't say that. You're a dick.
Abused.
Also had
I gotta go.
goldfish.
I gotta get going now. So, alright. I'll catch up with you guys soon.
Enjoy your evening.
Bye.
Alright.
Take care.
Alright. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, dear. Right, so what?
Right now we now outnumber the women. This is important.
I know. I don't like it. I've never
We
liked
can
that.
dominate. We can dominate the conversation now.
I'm now representing the entirety of my gender.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Exactly. Anything this woman says at this point is true for all women
I am the
everywhere.
feminist queen.
Wait,
Bow
wait,
down.
hold on. Anything Angela says is true for all women. Just do me a favour. Just mention that Mike is the most handsome man in the world, because... No, don't laugh. This is what you do when you represent your entire gender. We make me look good. No? Okay.
What's in it for me then, Mike? What's in it? Keep talking. Come on, make it.
One bounty bar and 3 Snickers.
Tempting.
See? It always works. Whenever I want anything from my girlfriend, I'm like, she says, well, what do I get out of this? What chocolate bar do you want? Done.
Well, I don't know though. Four chocolate bars to tell every woman in existence that you're the most handsome man in the world. I know. Seems like Mike's selling himself short.
No, well, in fairness, you've got my nan's back in, so... Right?
I think there may be some bias there.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Entirely.
Or your nan's completely objective.
Yeah.
I question your nan's ethical conduct.
Exactly.
No. But in fairness, she did tell all of us that same thing. Not that I was the most handsome man in the world, although saying that she did do that once to upset everyone. But that's not the point. No.
Okay then.
Yeah. No, she did. So there was a lot of us, you see, because I've got so many cousins. Most of them are female, which I think helps when you're growing up surrounded by women. Because then, of course, unlike Mornblade, you're not scared to talk to them.
How many of them did you want to marry then?
My cousins? Oh, God, no. No.
First cousins, second cousins. Come on, we got to do an American-style Deep South thing.
Oh, right, yeah, no. All of my first cousins, no. All of my second cousins, no. It's just off the table. There's no way. I mean, it helps that most of my cousins are not attractive, but...
But somehow you've obviously come through this unscathed. The genetic lottery has favoured you.
Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. No, like I said, I think obviously you may have noticed we have trouble getting people on the show with Mournblade sometimes. He's very
he's a
Scottish
Scottish
about things.
He
Yeah.
is. He's
Yeah.
terribly socialist. But of course, I mean, you should get more feminists on. They would love his socialist discussing
Well,
attitudes.
this is the thing. Like I said, most of the reason I wanted Angela to come and talk to us is because I was just curious about the SPJ thing, and because it's any excuse to get a woman on, really, just to annoy Mournblade. I'm not gonna lie.
But I am feminist.
And
Exactly.
that helps.
I don't know if Mournblade picked up on it, but yeah, I am a feminist.
Not one of the
Mournblade.
insane ones to
Yeah.
say.
Well, I hope not. There's
well,
that
that's the
thing.
well, that's the thing. Is kind of what it comes to. It's like it's something. It annoys me. It's something of a fashion statement. Really, I don't think people are really thinking about things, and kind of what we touched on. Most people don't think, they just want answers fed to them. And that's the annoying thing for me, really. It's not so much how you decide to label yourself. Like, I don't believe in God. I could call myself an atheist, and I have done in the past. And nowadays, I'm just kind of meh. Doesn't really matter to me. I kind of eschew labels in general, because it's like, if you want to know what I think, you have to talk to me. Kind of, that's my attitude, really.
I think the problem is that a lot of atheists are they're very militant about things.
I think that's more true in America.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's part of the reason atheist became a dirty word, is because you saw a lot of people with like a religious fervour, but without the religion.
It's understandable. I think it's the reason why I say Americans, because it's understandable, because there's definitely more of a reactionary thing, because they're much more under sort of fire from like a heavily religious background.
Yeah.
Of the general culture, so they kind of have to.
Commitment for an American to reject religion.
Yes,
really
exactly.
But that's the thing.
Because of how their country is structured.
Whenever
which is ironic, given the UK is officially a Christian country. You've got the monarch, the head of the state, is also the head of the official church. It's ironic. I always find that compared to America.
And we have bishops in the House of Lords.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. Like I said, when you talk to a lot of American atheists, I find you get this whole, well, I don't believe in God and you shouldn't, and here's why. And to me, that's not the point of the whole thing.
All the ones that are like, if you believe in God, well, then you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, okay, I get that having faith in that sense and believing in a deity is not what you do as an atheist. But my thinking was that you also don't try and convince everyone else that your way is the right way, because that's a tad dogmatic, and surely if you're not religious you shouldn't be dogmatic.
I guess there's a difference between dogmatism and advocacy. You can be an advocate for a particular, like I definitely would not disagree with anyone advocating for their position. Surely that's during a discussion we have our opinions and so forth. Maybe we can be swayed one way or the other. We could sway each other, influence and all that stuff. That's good. That's what conversation should be about, right? Dogmatism is a different thing. That's saying I've got a set of beliefs and they cannot in any way ever be challenged. That's a slightly different thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And a lot of the conversation that I've had is where people said, well, I don't believe in God, you shouldn't believe in God, these are my beliefs and these are why they're right. To which I say, well, your entire premise of not having faith in my God that I choose to have is having faith in an entirely different type of thing. And that's weird to me. Having faith in there not being a God is exactly the same as having faith in there being a God.
Well, I've seen, like in early years of the internet, probably 10 years ago, I did a lot of discussion on this. And I mean, I see people, I definitely understand what you're saying. Like, I definitely see people who kind of parrot points, and this is what I kind of go with. I prefer to have a more nuanced view on things. It's definitely, I can see why people feel this way, and again, I see my basic preference comes down to honest conversation, really, not about talking points, which you get a lot. Especially, this is why the whole sort of Tumblr feminist thing annoys me. It's because you can tell these people aren't really thinking about what they're saying; they're just repeating things they've heard other people say.
Yeah.
And I like genuine discussion. You can have an interesting conversation about things in a genuine way. and maybe you'll learn something, or maybe you'll come away from something having thought about something different. And that's impossible if you're coming from a perspective of, well, I'm just parroting what other people have said, because what once you've gone through your talking points, what else are you going to say? Because you've got nothing else. All you've said is your talking points, and
Precisely.
you're done.
And that's the thing.
It's not a discussion when the only people's opinion that anybody is interested in is their own. Just talking at each other. I mean,
that's it.
It's not even that. It's when it's somebody else's opinion.
Nobody's feminist. So that's a strange place to be in terms of feminism, because while feminism is popular at the moment, it's not the popular kind of feminism. No. In fact, it is despised by the popular kind of
exactly.
feminism.
Well, there was that whole thing about, I remember seeing that video, Anita Sarkeesian, and it was Jermaine Greer, and there was some panel saying,
it's all about women.
Choice. Yeah, you can't choose what to do, because that's going to hurt the sisterhood. It's like, okay, so you're basically saying if you don't believe what we do, then you're hurting women. It's like, okay, well done, feminism.
Feminism is not about personal choice.
Yeah.
Women don't empower themselves through personal choice. In fact, the personal choices that women make can harm the movement as a whole, because you may be supporting patriarchal systems. This is the thing that they have, where they use this word, this patriarchy, which they kind of think, they kind of tell people it means systems that were set up by men and that are that favour men over women. But at the same time, they kind of hedge their bets by saying, well, both men and women can perpetrate patriarchy.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of way to, it seems to be a kind of way to sort of protect themselves from criticism.
The thing is, like modern feminism,
and
at least,
as far as I mean, no ideology, no religion, no ideologue, no belief system is above criticism and is above mockery.
No.
No.
But most of them will try to set up some way in which they are above it. It's kind of, I mean, that's kind of what Richard Dawkins was saying when he talked about, well, he basically invented the concept of memes. Of course, nowadays we all understand memes as something slightly different to what he was talking about. But the idea being that basically a religion or any ideology that sets itself up with a premise that says criticism of this ideology is basically in some way fundamentally wrong, is one that's going to be quite successful, because it's insulated itself against attacks that may undermine the underpinnings of whatever ideology you're talking about. It doesn't matter which one you talk about.
But that's the thing, a lot of modern feminism, at least the kind Sarkeesian spouts, and a lot of the modern atheism stuff, because potentially from the same sort of nonsense source, a lot of it seems to be this ideology that insulates itself against criticism, against absolutely everything, and that's where it kind of gets me sort of creeped out.
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying. This is why the people I talk to, whether it's it could be any, like say any religion. Like I've dated plenty of Christian girls. I mean, that's the country we're fucking in. It's I mean, the church population is lower than it has been, but there's still plenty of Christians out there. Dated plenty of them. Dated people from other. I'm in London, so you've got quite a fucking melting pot of people here, right? So it's not like I'm completely prejudiced, and it's like the people I'm interested in. As I said before, these are people who are willing to discuss, not people who are dogmatic, and it's true for anybody, pretty much. Anybody is like, shut the brain off, put the talking points on. You can't have an honest conversation.
Well, that's it, and that's the thing. You're not even, and this is why I don't talk to people that associate with a lot of anti-Gamergate, because it's the same dogmatic, we can't possibly be wrong, you're terrible mentality, and you kind of like, well, okay, look, I'm the first person that say things are flawed. Everyone's flawed, of course it is. Not everything's perfect, but if you're going to sit here and tell me you've never done anything wrong, and you're the majority, and everyone loves you, and you shit diamonds and this sort of thing, okay, now I'm bored. go away.
Well, this is the thing. The one or two times on Twitter I found someone who's willing to talk, it's like that's a nice experience. It's like that's
Yeah.
what I really want to do. Is like have like I say, honest discussion. One or two times it's happened. That's been a nice experience. We've both been able to like talk, hash it out, and have a discussion, and that's. For me, I believe that's a very important thing for a democracy in general. People, not just freedom of speech, but actually not just shouting at each other, as it were, actually talking.
Yeah, and sometimes just to recognise that people are going to disagree with you, and that's okay. It doesn't make them a bigot necessarily if they disagree with everything you say or they don't get the same perspective that you do. People don't seem to kind of think beyond themselves in some of these situations, in that they think everyone lives in the same way that they do, everyone comes from the same background, the same place that they do, everyone sees the world the same way that they do. And it's like, no, that's not how it is at all. You have to factor in to the equation that there are probably reasons why people feel the way that they do about certain things. Due to their background, their cultural background, their class, their colour, their gender, everything like that. There are many reasons why people may feel the way that they do. This is why I don't have a problem with people like people that support the Women Against Feminism hashtag. I don't have a problem with those women that support that hashtag, because the thing is, everybody's idea of equality is slightly different, because equality is a perspective. You're going to see.
It really
what you
depends on
think
how you define it. That's
yeah,
very
exactly.
important.
It's going to be different for everybody, because you're going to define it depending on your own experience. You're going to filter it through the lens of your own perspective. So if what they're seeing from feminism is not what they see as equal, then of course they're not going to support it. If the only experiences that they have of feminists are being bullied, or being called, they have internalized misogyny, or they're MRAs, or they're holding women back, or they should be thankful, grateful to feminism, they owe feminism a debt, of course they're not going to support feminism. And if they see the men that they care about, the men that they love derided, the men that they love, as the way they see it, treated unfairly, hated, despised, of course they're not going to support feminism.
No.
So to not support feminism doesn't mean that you don't support equality, which is why, as I say, I don't have a problem. In fact, I have quite a few that follow me on Twitter. I talk to them sometimes. It's just a case of they see equality one way, I see it a different way, and that's just fine.
Well, that's the thing. Anyone that says that they have the definitive sort of method of doing anything, especially when it comes to things like equality, are people that I can't be anywhere near. It's that whole thing of every time everyone says trust me, I immediately am wondering what they're up to.
I prefer to think of it as not so. I mean, the way I look at it because I've got quite a scientific background, I look at it, the questions are more important than the answers. I think that's basically the perspective I come from. It's not about the answers, because the how definite you can be about any answer, how provisional it is definitely up in the air about debate. But the more important thing is what questions do you ask, and how do you come at the questions, and how honest are you about the questioning that you make. So inquiry as being more important than whatever the results are of your inquiry. And I think that's the way I see science. That's the way I see I see that as applicable to any political discussion. Really, it's like, are you asking genuine questions, or are you just waiting? Or are you just waiting to give your answers?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I've had discussions with my girlfriend about certain things, and I said to her, look, she said to me, "Oh, well, I feel differently about this thing than you do," and I think it was around the gender pay gap. And I said, well, you can feel differently, but this has been disproven. I said, I will respect the fact that you don't feel that that's right, but the evidence is there, so I can't really do anything but say, no, you're wrong. If you can verify something as a fact, that's where you kind of go, no, you are definitely wrong there. Like, for example, if you're arguing about whether the Earth is flat or not, which it seems like I'm doing a lot of the time, you categorically can say, right, the Earth is round. No, men don't get paid more than women, and we can prove that. No, the patriarchy is not a real thing. It's just a thing you've made up. At least not in. Oh, hello, and Angela's disappeared.
Well, the
Maybe I'm too into
Illuminati is real, though.
patriarchy.
The
But no, this
Illuminati
is
is
the
definitely
thing. You know, it's that sort of thing where you go, no, these are verifiable facts. We're not going to argue with them. If you want to argue your opinion on a thing, fine. You know, we can argue about whether Terminator 1 or Terminator 2 is the best Terminator, because 3 and Salvation don't count, because they're terrible.
Well, we
But-
can see how Genesis does. I might actually watch that one. Could be
Yeah.
interesting.
Sorry.
I was back. Hooray! No, I thought I triggered you with the word patriarchy, and you just
No,
rage quit. So.
I think that
She's just a
my
weak and feeble woman.
I need to go to sleep.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that. So I'm gonna sort of wrap things up in the next couple of minutes because it's 1:10 nearly.
Yes.
Terrible.
Lightweights.
I have to get up. Okay, I'm literally gonna get woken up in like 5 hours. With Dad, come downstairs. No,
So were you on Oliver's stream till the end then, or did you bow out?
no, I ducked out at 3 o'clock in the morning. For two reasons. One is because they were trying to get people in. Two was because it was 3 o'clock in the morning and I had to take the little one to school. So I figured I should get some sleep before I disappeared.
Yeah, same. Although I didn't end up getting to sleep until like dawn.
Well,
I was so wired after that stream.
yeah, I went to bed and my little girl decided she was getting in the bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So it was like, right, okay, I'm just not going to get any sleep. That's fine. I'll just sleep during the day. Which is why it's good sometimes, me being my own boss there. Because
No, lucky you.
let's not go that far. I have to do paperwork.
I was glad at least that I had the day off. I probably wouldn't have done
Yeah.
the stream if I didn't have the day off.
Well, that's
The basic problem is that you're on the wrong side of the time zone. Americans are fine. It's all Americans' fault because
exactly.
if you're on this side of the time zone, you're basically screwed.
Because, funnily enough, the world isn't flat. But if the world were to identify as flat, then
It would still not be flat.
If the world identified as flat, then we'd all have to have the same time zone, and we'd all have to ignore the sun wherever it was in the sky. And yeah, we would have to respect the wishes of
That
the earth.
almost, you see, that sounds insane, but almost kind of happened. I don't know if you're familiar with like when they did the whole thing about how GMT sort of came about from the like train schedules where they'd have like it'd be like, all right, well, if you're this part, and it's like the sun gets up 3 minutes earlier, like slightly west, so the timetables would be marked to the sunrise over here, and it's like, well, I can't tell what fucking time I'm actually getting this fucking train. So it's like, right, GMT, standardized, fuck your sunrise, this is the time it's going to be in Britain.
On a day when it's dark and cloudy, you might not even be able to see the sun.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. Like, now, to do the last topic before we all go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I was talking to, Hidden Tara, Sophia, on Twitter.
Yeah.
So we were having a conversation the other day because someone brought up about what a person is if they decide to identify as a woman but don't go through surgery, right? So I'm curious as to what you two guys think, and this is like the last bit I'll do, because to me, if someone is wearing a dress or dressing as a lady but has no intention of going through any sort of surgery or hormone treatment, that person is a man in a dress, right? Barring medical conditions preventing it being done. You know, unless you're going through the physical change to become a woman, you're a man in a dress, which in and of itself, no bad thing. And you're then a transvestite rather than transgender. Now, I ask because social justice types would flip the lid at the question even being brought up. So I'm curious where people are.
Well, to use the word trans, as in transgender, I mean, the word implies, well, it's short for transitioning, isn't it, or transition?
Yeah.
Yes, it's got trans literally meaning across.
Yeah.
Yes, so that does imply that you are going to make some sort of effort.
Destination.
However, if you are not intending to have surgery, but you are living your life as a woman, so you have changed your name, you have changed your legal documents, you are living your life as a woman, you have made a transition there, even if
I
it's not
see.
a physical transition.
All right. So if you've legally changed things so that to say you are a woman.
Yes, because you've made a
Yeah.
public statement there. You're not. It's not the same as dressing up as a woman in private. You have made that you have come out into the public sphere, and you have that there is an element of transition in that you've made changes in your life, which meant you have had to make an effort. I mean, I remember seeing an episode of a talk show where somebody was thinking about transitioning, and their family was dead against it, and they hadn't changed their name. They hadn't chosen a new name. They hadn't really done anything short of it was a female to male transgender person, and the person hadn't done anything. And so the host said to this person, "Well, I'm not surprised that your family are concerned, because they can't. There's nothing that you're doing, nothing that you are showing that shows them that you are serious about this. This is a big life change that you want to make." So, I mean, I don't really know anything about transgenderism, so I don't know. I have very limited opinions on it, because it's like, well, I don't really know that much about it, so it's like I don't really want to talk about something I don't know an awful lot about. But at the same time, I think if you have made an effort to make a change, other people have to, that you have made a legal or a kind of public change in your life, so you're living your life as a woman, then yes, I would say that makes you transgender rather than transsexual.
See, that makes sense. I guess I look at it less in the legal sense and more in the physical sense, I suppose. But you've got a fair point, which is if you're legally a lady or a gentleman, depending on which way you're going.
Yeah, I mean that to me says that you are you're doing something serious. This is not a fad. This is not a phase that you're going to grow out of. That you are that is a transition. Maybe it's not as big a transition as hormone therapy or surgery, but it is a transition. It's a step.
Yeah.
I mean, because you may be wanting to keep your options open. You may be thinking, well, I don't want surgery now, but somewhere down the line I might, if it comes to it.
Yeah. See, because the reason I was curious on the whole issue in the first place was, as we may or may not know, Caitlyn Jenner can't have surgery, medically speaking, and can't really do the hormone things, as far as I understand it. So,
just because of age?
I
think so.
Yeah,
so although,
that would make sense.
Yeah, so obviously she's a lady, and that's fine, but that sort of got me to thinking, well, if you don't do it because you're choosing not to do it, because that's the thing, you feel you're a woman in a man's body or a man in a woman's body, and you can't really be that thing unless you physically change it. I wouldn't have thought, to me. That makes sense to me, but
it depends on what you define as gender. I mean, you've got some people that define gender solely as a social construct. So this is the thing that you are told you are by your parents.
I definitely put that in the fucking box.
And then you've got the other end of the spectrum of people who say your gender is defined strictly by what lies between your legs. And from my perspective, it's probably somewhere in the middle. See, because I'm a cisgendered woman, I was born a woman and I identify as a woman. So, but
I know for a fact you can definitely discount the latter because of hermaphrodites. Those are things that exist. You've got both different types of genitals. You cannot. There's no possible ambiguity about the fact that if you're going to go from a strictly biological perspective, these things exist where you can have both sets of genitals.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And of course, there are times where things, I wouldn't necessarily say go wrong, but things, well, you can have it where men, they grow up and they find that it's a very rare thing, but chromosomally they are actually male.
Well,
it's a very rare thing, but it does happen.
I mean, this is kind of my perspective on it, which is I'm quite fascinated by it. I mean, I talked about hermaphrodites, and it's the thing. There's so many interesting, from a purely scientific, biological perspective, so many interesting things that can happen as far as sex determination. So there's a sort of chimeral states where you can have women who are XXY, so you've got an extra chromosome in there,
Yeah.
and so you could be biologically a woman, but you've got a Y chromosome. Now, obviously, anyone who doesn't know, the Y chromosome is generally what determines that you're a man as opposed to a woman, as far as your biology is going. So it's possible to have that sort of state where you've got this extra chromosome, very rare, as you'd expect, but that is also possible. Hermaphrodism, also quite rare, but entirely possible. I mean, the range of how that can be expressed is varied. So often what you have is the penis and the testes can often be quite small compared to, I guess, you'd consider a normal sort of male. So there is a whole range of very interesting things. Now, of course, the mental factor is much more nebulous as to, and this is kind of where I have problems, just simply because of the sort of, unfortunately, say the sort of Tumblr way. It's like everyone's a fucking otherkin, everyone's a fucking dragon or a fucking wolf and shit. And I just think that muddies the water. Where it becomes like, oh well, this is a fucking fashion statement. It's like, no, it isn't. There are legitimate. And I don't want to say this as a sort of denigration, but there are mental conditions. Like you could say it's a mental illness, but people will take that as being, oh, right, well, that means you're a bad person. No, a mental illness is a mental illness. It's like any other type of illness. There are things that you can do as treatment. Now, surgery may be a treatment. There could be other treatments. This is the thing that I find that sometimes it's looked upon, well, okay, people are like, oh, we're pro-transgender, so the only solution could possibly be is you've got to change your genitals. It's like, well, there could actually be other solutions, which is and I don't know because I'm in no way medically qualified, but presumably there are other treatments. Like you could presumably take medications that make you, if it's a case that you feel more like you're another gender in the wrong body, presumably there are medications that can fix that. So like hormonal treatment could work in both directions, I'd assume. So you could feel like you're a male who feels more feminine because of, say, excuse me, a testosterone deficiency. Presumably, testosterone treatments could make you feel more male, and therefore you'd be happy in your own body. Things like that, for example, which don't get talked about because it seems like there's such a desire to be accepting of people who go through surgery that we're forgetting about the whole gamut, the whole spectrum of possibilities. And the reason why, excuse me, I'm coughing a bit. The reason why I come to this is because surgery, I feel, really should be considered to be the last option, because there is no other way of looking at it. It's a drastic change. It's irreversible. You make that choice, there is pretty much no going back. So you better be pretty damn certain that when you're making that choice, you've made the right choice. Anyone who's made that choice, it's your life. But I mean, I've heard that the suicide rates after surgery can be quite high, and you can understand. It's like, again, it's a drastic fucking change. You should be pretty damn certain about what you're doing. You should not be swayed about, oh right, well, we're all gonna fucking support you because we're all fucking very progressive. It's like, no, this is too important to be dictated by politics. It's got to be right for the person. It's got to be dictated by the best medical facts that are available. You've got to be as honest as possible with yourself. It's like, is this really how I feel? Are there other external factors or psychological factors that possibly could be at play here? It's like, I definitely feel like I mean, as far as treating a mental illness, which again, like, just because it's described like depression is a mental illness, it doesn't mean you denigrate people who are depressed. That means you try to find the right treatment for them, right? So the right treatment in some circumstances certainly could be surgery, right? But that doesn't mean it's the only treatment. And I think that's kind of where a lot of it comes from. It's like, all right, well, you feel like you're a woman in a man's body. The only treatment is surgery. It's like, no, that's not necessarily true. So you shouldn't rule out other possibilities simply because you've got a preconceived idea about what that means. So going back to your original question about a man who dresses up as a woman and has no feeling about going to surgery, possibly there is something that maybe surgery is maybe the reason why they're not interested in surgery is possibly because there is actually a different reason for it. So you can say, oh, well, that makes me transphobic. It's like, no, maybe there is actually something else going on there, and therefore alternative treatments. And I say alternative like it should be a fucking bad word, but it's like maybe people should consider other options. It's like just because you say just because you can get surgery, this is the thing: surgery is imperfect. You are approximating changing into another gender. It's not perfect by any means. I'm sure one day it will be possible that you'll go into a machine and you can pretty much come out a perfect swap. Like if you're a man, it's going to be easier because you've got an X chromosome. I can imagine some sort of science fiction type scenario where you replicate the X chromosome, you do some sort of retrovirus thing, all your cells in your body are modified. You get some sort of thing. You get ovaries grown and your testes are turned into ovaries and all that kind of shit. It's like you imagine, like everyone knows this sort of like sci-fi thing. It's like imagine that sort of scenario. It's like you come out and it's like you were never born a man or you're never born a woman, sort of thing. But the fact is, and again, I can only emphasize because people are going to call me transphobic for fucking saying this, even though I don't really give a shit. It's like everyone gets a choice to make. All I'm really saying is everyone can make their own choices in life. It's just consequences. You can't forget about those. Is surgery is not perfect. This is a fact. It's not a perfect solution, right? It may be the best solution available, but to pretend that it's somehow a perfect solution is just fucking ridiculous. It's just clearly contrary to reality. It's not a perfect solution. Therefore, all I'm really saying is consider all the options. You can't just think, all right, surgery is the option. So in the case you're giving, it sounds to me like it's possibly that is more about are there other things going on? Why does someone choose to do that and decide to identify as a woman, not decide to go through surgery? Maybe it's because they're scared of it, and I would not blame anyone of being scared of taking, frankly, like I say, a very drastic measure. Maybe that's it. They're simply scared. Maybe it would be the most appropriate treatment for the dysphoria, but maybe there are other treatments available which would be more suitable. And that's really what I'm getting at. Is I think of all this discussion, people only ever seem to think it's like it's either surgery or it's no surgery. So I really think that is too fucking limited a viewpoint to have.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the question is, how else do you resolve that? How else do you resolve that feeling?
Well, it was that's a question. Like I say, not a medical profession. Possibly, let's say maybe hormones could do it. I mean, you for example,
Well,
you've got women go for the menopause. You get HRT, right?
Well, that's
Well, for some people.
Well, exactly. Some people, again, this is a thing. It's like expecting everyone to be equal and all medical solutions to be applicable to all people is kind of ignoring the point of why do you have to study so fucking long a medical school? It's because if it was so fucking cut and dry, all these decisions, it would be a fucking solved solution. So pretty much all I'm really saying is this is not a cut and dry thing. It is not simply, all right, well, you either chop off the genitals because that's the way it is and you fucking invert the penis or whatever the fuck you need to do, or it's not really real, or I don't know, or you're just kind of avoiding the question. It's like maybe there are other options available. Maybe there are psychological problems. Maybe this person thinks they want to be a woman, and maybe they actually don't. Maybe it's something else going on. You don't really know unless you explore the options. And that's pretty much all I'm coming from. It's like you can't, if you look at it as there are only two options here, then of course you're only limiting yourself. It's like all I'm really thinking from is what is the best outcome for the person, right? The only way to do that is to explore all the options, take the best medical advice you possibly can, and to be open and definitely not to be closed-minded about, all right, well, there is only two options. Maybe there is. Maybe that is the case. I don't know. Like I said,
well,
by no means an expert.
That's the thing.
I know from all the gamuts of as intersex as I know, like hermaphrodites to like weird sort of chromosome deficiencies, it's not cut and dry. They're rare edge cases as well, which means the amount of research and knowledge about it is rarer. So the other way of looking at it, of course, is that every case is a research opportunity. Each case could be in some way an individual thing that may come up again, may never come up again, right? Because these are rare. These are rare instances. But whatever the outcome, it's really got to be about whatever makes the person happy. Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy with whatever the fuck you've done, then it doesn't really matter whether it's right inverted commas or wrong inverted commas, because surely should be the outcome of any sort of mental health slash physical procedure, is to improve the well-being of the individual. If you're not improving your well-being, you might as well not have bothered.
Mm.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
the thing.
some people just living as the gender that they perceive themselves to be is enough, because it's more about what's inside their head than what's between their legs. I mean, I identify as a woman. I feel that I am a woman. I feel that if I were to have some sort of horrid accident in which my genitals were removed or no longer functioned, I would still feel that I was a woman. And so it's a question of asking yourselves whether you feel that what's between the legs or what's inside the head is.
Well, that's the thing. Everything's in
more
the head,
important.
really, in the day, is it not?
So if you gentlemen had some kind of horrific accident in which your genitals were removed, they had to be removed, would you still feel that you were men?
It really depends. I mean, all I can say is, having experience. I'm not afraid to say this, and I don't want you to react poorly or anything like that. But I do have a brain tumor, so I do have some experience of medical conditions affecting your cognition and so forth. So, I mean, things can affect you in ways you don't necessarily expect. My understanding is, generally, if you're a full-grown man, generally it wouldn't affect you. Maybe some testosterone differences, mostly probably psychosomatic. But basically, once you're a full-grown man, you've already gone through puberty, pretty much
Yeah.
not. But of course, you've got to remember there are things like castratos going back. Of course, you
Yeah.
couldn't do
Yeah.
that today,
But
but that was a thing. Yeah, that happened. Like, things like that happen. So we already have some experience of what it's like if you lose your genitals pre-puberty as a man.
that being said, I know exactly how the dog looked when he came back from the vet, and I do not want that look.
Well, he winked at you, right?
No, he didn't. He didn't look at me for 3 days. I swear to God, he didn't look at me, right?
This is why he learned to wink. It's
Yeah.
like, you did this to me, what else are you going to do to me if I don't do what you say?
Exactly. Right? I swear to God, the only look he gave me, I don't know the best way to describe it. It's kind of that look as if to say, why would you do this to me? What have I ever done to you?
How could this happen to me?
Yeah. Just the saddest look I've ever seen. And I felt terrible. I was like, because I took him there, I felt terrible. And I was like, oh, all right. And I said, oh,
You've
you
got the
didn't do it.
girlfriend to do it.
No, well, she didn't want to. And I was like, right,
Well,
okay.
it doesn't matter. Use your patriarchy power.
Yeah, okay. I'm outnumbered, man. There's nothing. There's no
You
way.
participated in the emasculation of the dog.
Yeah,
While the enemy.
you know, and I said to dog, oh, you're coming up, because you usually sit on my knee, and he just looked at me. You know, now see, obviously you as a dude won't know this, but you know the look you give to your husband when he's done something terribly wrong, and then you look away and he knows. That's the look I got from my dog. That look as though he just stepped in something, and that something was me.
This is interesting, because I've only ever had female cats, so when they've been spayed, I've never really noticed any real difference at all. So maybe it is a masculine thing. It's like you've
Maybe
moved
you
my
were
fucking
projecting.
balls. I don't know. I really don't. All I can
Maybe.
say is I haven't noticed this. Well, this is cats as well. It's different, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah,
I've
maybe
never owned
you were
dogs.
projecting and putting yourself in the dog's position in terms of how would I feel? How
It's
would
not
I
the
look
dog's bollocks anymore, is it?
Yeah.
How
No,
would
I checked this. I thought to
look
myself,
at the person who stole my genital?
no, I thought to myself, is it just me? Do I just feel bad because I've robbed him of his manberries? I just look. Do you think the dog's looking at me funny? And my girlfriend went,
Yes.
yes. He's
Dog
looking
bones.
at you like he hates you. Right.
But is it the dog that hates you, or do you hate yourself?
No, the dog definitely hated me for like
Trying
a
to
good
give you a
week.
guilt trip.
Yeah, he did well. It was a guilt trip. He got so many treats that week. He's looking at me like, you know what you did. I don't know why you did it, but you know what you did.
Love
Right?
it.
It's like getting the silent treatment. It's like, you know what you did.
Well, it's either that or it could be projection, of course. Now, I
It
don't
could.
know dog psychology that well, of course, but I imagine after surgery, any surgery, your dog is going to be going through a bit of discombobulation.
Yes.
Discomfort, physical discomfort and pain.
Exactly.
In
Yes.
general not feeling. I mean, even if you have a very, very minor surgery, there is some time afterwards where you just generally feel like hammered shite. I mean, I had my gallbladder removed last year, which is an incredibly minor
Fun.
procedure, but it was not really not any fun at all.
No.
So it could be just that the dog felt like shit warmed up.
It could be. It could be.
I can see the
I mean,
journey,
either
like,
way, you know,
changes between
me.
58 day of not having testicles.
Poor puppy.
Yeah, don't gang up on me. It's bad enough at the time. I don't need this now. But yeah, so as it's 1:30, I'm gonna stop streaming now so everyone can get some sleep. Because now we know it's definitely not the dog's bollocks. You see?
No, it definitely is not.
Going back to the Fallout 4 dog bollocks. It's a
The
recall.
dog is transgender.
It fucking well is now.
This is the question though. One quick one before we go.
Yeah.
If white men have it so fantastically brilliant, and if in order to be a woman or to be a man or to be a black person, all you have to do is say you are, which is basically what identifying is. All it is saying that you are this person. Then why doesn't everybody identify as a white man and get all the wonderful patriarchy perks?
This is what I don't get with the gender as a social
I
construct.
I can answer this because you don't understand. White men, because we're all terrible bastards, we do not recognise the fact that you've decided to identify yourself as a black cripple with legs coming out of your head and your genitals are on your face and all these sort of things, which obviously we just don't recognise that, even though because we just use our eyes and we look at you and say that none of that what you said is true in any shape or form. That's because white cis het men are the worst scum of the earth because we're just not able to look past reality and just accept whatever we're told. Well, at least that's my point. That's my point. That's my explanation of being the most racist person on the planet. Anyway,
I think something's happening. It seems that Brianna Wu has decided that the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community haven't ever had it as bad as the transgender community.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's the distribution of privilege thing again, isn't it? It's like you've had it bad, but not as bad as me.
Yeah.
And then somebody else.
I can just imagine the playground. It's like I can see that this is the playground. It's like, well, you got more privilege than me. It's like, no, you don't. You got more privilege than me. It's like my mum is like black and my dad is like he's half black and he's like he identifies as gay even though he's with my mum and it's like you can't tell me nothing. You don't know anything. I'm gonna tell teacher on you. You said a bad word. You called me this head. You said I was a white male, which is disgusting, or some shit.
It's fucking
like
silly.
I mean, it's playground shit.
It's classic oppression Olympics. It really is. Oppression Olympics, and we're just trying to get the gold.
Fuck this shit, right? I am now an F-22 Raptor. Right, that's it. I've had enough now.
What are you going to have for surgery, though?
Yeah, I'm going to get some wings and some fucking afterburners, and I'm going to be a fighter plane.
I thought you just meant you were going to be hanging out in Jurassic World with a couple of raptors.
No, I'm going to be a fighter plane.
Raptorkin. I'd be Raptorkin.
No, I'm going to let Tom Cruise pilot me. That's how fucking serious I am. I'm going to let Tom Cruise. Yeah, I'm going to let Tom Cruise climb on my neck and fly me around.
You're not happy unless you're going Mach 1 with your hair on fire.
Yeah, that's it. God. And on that note, I'm going to stop streaming now because I think we've all gone mad.
Yeah, the tide has definitely kicked in.
That already happened.
This is true. But it's been lovely having you all on.
Thank you very much.
You'll come back. But, next time don't bring your husband. I can flirt a lot more if he's not here.
This was a traumatic experience I'll never forget.
Good. I'm glad. Right.
Well, thank